Hey everybody, it's Mike. I'm back. I'm going to talk about Hare Krishna cults and all that stuff. And everybody who's protesting a cult, Scientology, Jehovah's Witness, whatever it is, more power to you. Let's get rid of these cults. They ruin lives. They harm children, men, women, and children. They harm everybody. I mean, let's be serious. You know, we talk about the children and women, but it's everybody. Everybody is damaged and hurt by these cults. So we're going to get into it. I got a lot to talk about, I guess. But what do I got to do? I got to do the intro. That's what I got to do.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, so yeah, Hare Krishna cults. There's so much shit to talk about. Like sometimes I don't even know. I'll have things I want to talk about, but while I'm sitting here and I'm getting ready, other shit comes up, and then this bag of shit and that bag of shit, and it's just like it's just one. Something you don't even know where to start. It's like cleaning out a dirty garage or something, a messy ass plate. You don't know where to start. You're like, should I start over there? Should I start over there? Over there? And so I guess I'm going to start. This just came up. I was trying to research, do some research just now before coming live, and let me show you what I found. It's the Hare Krishna page. Let's see how I get to this. The Hare Krishna page where I go to search all the books. Let me show you. It just doesn't seem to be working. What's not working is the search function. So if I search, I just get an error. I just keep getting these error messages. You can still go and look at the books. This is weird. Like you can still see and read everything. If you want to go and read Prabhupada's books online, you can still do that. But you can't search for whatever, and I've been trying this for like the last hour or so. I've been trying to search even the simplest thing, like Krishna. I'm trying to search something, that's not even controversial or anything. Just searching Krishna and selecting it and then searching, and I get nothing. Sometimes it comes up and it says cannot connect to host, error, but everything else seems to be working just fine. Now, I'm not saying that's because I'm telling people to go use this page and search for stuff like women like to be raped, rape, Negroes, women are less intelligent, women, search these things, right? Democracy, search Martin Luther King, search Abraham Lincoln, search must be married, child marriage, read about the gopis being 11 years old. You can read all this stuff yourself, and all you got to do is just go to this webpage and search, and all this stuff comes up. But now that search function is not working, and I don't know why it's not working. I don't know when it stopped working, and I don't know if it's because I'm telling people to go use this. But I don't think it's because of me. I don't think it's because of me. But you can definitely you can definitely go here, which is Vedabase. So you can just type in Vedabase, or you can go to Google and type in Vedabase, and it's VEDABASE, and let me see how you can find it. If it's Vedabase.com, yeah, just type in Vedabase.com and you'll get to this page. It's the same setup, and you can search right here. You can search for Negroes, and it'll show you all the places where Prabhupada talks about Negroes. Negroes are envious of white men. He gave the Negroes freedom. Abraham Lincoln. Prabhupada says, and library means these Negroes will go to read. They'll go for drinking. Prabhupada simply drunken Negroes. And then Brahmananda says the Negroes from Detroit, they are the fierce animals that come here at night. Morning conversation. These Negroes, they are, after all, simple. We have to claim them. They're very good behaving Negroes. They come to our temple. Nobody could drive them. And then you can click on that and you can see the whole conversation. So even though the other page is not working, and again, I have no idea why the other page is not working, but you can use this other page if you want to search Prabhupada's books, and you can read all the bullshit, all the racist, the sexist, everything. You can read it all, and they're very proud of it. They don't. It's in his books. They'd have to change his book. They'd have to edit so much to get this stuff out of there, and because in the same conversation, he'll and I say go and read the stuff and make a copy and print it out, because one day it could all be gone and you won't know. They could very well limit the access to all this racist, sexist the stuff about pedophilia, child marriage. Take it out. So you can't find it. You'd have to read everything to find the stuff, because you won't be able to search it. This is right here, conversation right, and here in this one, let me show you. This one, you can click on it,
from all parts of the world.
and you can hear the conversation that he has. They recorded everything.
Generally, he goes to Java.
You want to hear when Prabhupada talks about the Negroes?
প্রাকৃতিক জিনিসটা সমস্ত হচ্ছে প্র্যাকটিক্যাল, হাতে কলমে করতে হয়, খুব মানে সফট হ্যান্ডের এবং খুব অনুভূতি নিয়ে করা।
We're must be way towards the end, right? So
এমন কিছু করা যাবে না।
এখানে থাকুন না করে
এই অনেকদিন ছেড়ে দিচ্ছে আর কি, কিন্তু আমার সব মনে আছে এইগুলো
করতে পারে করে,
কিন্তু প্র্যাকটিক্যাল হ্যান্ডগুলো দেন এখন যারা অনবরত করছে, যারা হাত দিয়ে, তারা সমস্ত আছে অনেক, এই নার্স কম্পাউন্ডার সব, এরা সব হাতে করে 12 মাস চিকিৎসা করে। এরকম সমস্ত কলকাতা প্রাকৃতিক চিকিৎসালয়ে আছে, সব কলকাতাতে আছে, অন্যান্য জায়গায় আছে, জসিটিতে আছে।
So this one is nice because you can actually hear. Let's see, morning conversation. Yeah, I don't know where. He says it in there, but you can actually listen to the conversation of Prabhupada saying, we must claim these Negroes. They're very simple. It's all on tape. Stuff about child marriage and so many things. And then you've got grown women talking about how they were forced into marriage by their parents or their guru or both in the 80s and the 90s. This is not something from the 18th century or something that when Prabhupada was growing up. It's something that, this child marriage thing that, well, Prabhupada was a, that was the age that he was growing up. That was the age that he was brought up in. That was no, Prabhupada wanted that now. It's in his books now. Women get no education. Women don't get to go to school. Women just need to learn how to make clothes, sew, cook, take care of the kids. You've heard that before. No education for the women. The Taliban says the same thing. Women don't go to school. And women have to stay covered up. And guess what? Hare Krishnas want women covered up too. You think this is a joke? This is no joke. There are places where Prabhupada says, let me see if I can search. Let me see if I can search. Where Prabhupada says, let me see what he probably has to say. Prabhupada says, there's a quote where Prabhupada says, in the future, we will put a gun to their head and we will say, if you chant Hare Krishna, if he says no, then bam, we shoot him. And I don't know where that quote is. I'm trying to find it. I don't even know how. It's a morning walk that he had. I don't know how. I wouldn't know how. I don't know how to find. I'm searching for it now, but I can't find it. I'm trying to find it here, but there are places where Prabhupada talks about nuclear weapons. He talks about the end of the world. You can search where Prabhupada talks about. So he talks about nuclear weapons. They're calling it nuclear war. He's talking about nuclear war after the war. So, so there's many places where Prabhupada says that there's going to be nuclear war, and after that, then there will be devastation, and then chanting will be better, and Hare Krishna will. Everyone has now got nuclear weapon. So Prabhupada says here, so far, of course, I know that this nuclear weapon was already discovered by the German people and Hitler, because he knew that if I throw this nuclear weapon, there will be devastation. But if it is a true fact, then how he could have this human consideration that he did not throw the nuclear. So anyways, we have got experience. Nuclear weapon is very, very dangerous. Prabhupada is under the impression that Adolf Hitler had an atomic weapon. He didn't use it because he was a gentleman and he knew that it would kill so many people. But the Americans, they were the evil bad people, and they used the nuclear weapons. But Hitler didn't use the nuclear weapon because he was a good guy. That's basically what Prabhupada is saying. But anyway, you can go to the Veda base and you can search all this crap, all this stuff in Prabhupada's books. You can use the Veda base because the other one I was telling everyone to go to is no longer searchable. You can no longer search. You can just read. And if you don't know where to go look, you're not going to just read through all this crap, his crappy books, just to find all his racist, sexist, misogynistic, xenophobe, whatever. Just, who's going to do that? But if you can search it, you can just go right through there and just type in Negroes. You can type in women like to be raped. You can type in women are less intelligent. Or type in rape. And here you go. All the places where Prabhupada talks about, right here is where he explains what rape means. Rape means without consent, sex. Otherwise, there is no rape. So he's talking about, many places where he's talking about the victim are women. Why the victim is not man? Why in every rape case the sufferer of the victim is a woman? It's disgusting. Some of the things that he says about women are less intelligent. All the places where Prabhupada says women are less intelligent. I mean, let's look. It's just like on every single page of his books. You can even go to the next, where he says, well, he's talking about women, and here, look right here. Because of the long duration of time that has passed, and because of her being a woman, and therefore less intelligent, my mother has forgotten all those instructions, blah, 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 blah. This stuff is on just about every page of his books. He's talking about women are less intelligent. So you combine women are less intelligent with women like to be raped, with 11-year-olds need to be married, and you've got a pedophile cult. You got a pedophile cult. He says 11-year-old, the gopis were the best. 11-year-old girls are the best. They make the best wives. They make the best everything. Because they will drop everything they're doing to go have sex with Krishna. So the gopis are the best of the best. Prabhupada says in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, 16-year-old girls must be married to 24-year-old men. Not should, not could or can. He says must. He's saying women are never to be given independence. Young girls must be married. Women don't, in Prabhupada's movement, women don't get to do whatever they want. No. And just listen to the grown women who start talking about how they were abused and then they got married off. Hey Danielle, how you doing? Good to see you. Where are the parents getting this idea that marrying their 11-year-old girl or 12-year-old daughter or 13-year-old daughter is okay? And that's what needs to be done to some 26-year-old man. That girl was raped. She was abused and then raped at 13. And then her mother goes, "Oh, I guess I'll marry her off to this 26-year-old man kind of insanity is that? Where is that coming from? From Prabhupada's books. From this crap right here. All of this. All of this. That's where it's coming from. I'm just cutting to the chase. You want to know why everything is so bad? Why there was a $400 million child abuse lawsuit against ISKCON? Why so many gurus have fallen down? Why so many kids have been abused? So many suicides? This is why. The books. It makes people go crazy. Who's going to marry their 13-year-old daughter off to some stranger so he can take her to India? And the guy's bragging to the 13-year-old girl how she's going to be so sore she's not going to be able to walk. I mean, what is that? Rameshwar, the guru, going into the little girl's ashram where little girls are sleeping and he's rubbing their hair at night. The girl wakes up to this pervert stroking her hair. Who knows what else he did to other girls? I mean, that right there is creep factor a zillion. And this guy to this day is giving lectures in Mayapur. He's going to sit on a fucking chair and sit there in front of a class and tell people how they should live, what they should do and not do. Like he's some authority on being a good person. When he ran off with a 14-year-old girl, was sneaking into the girls' ashram where little girls are sleeping and touching them and molesting them, traumatizing them. Where did he get the idea that that was fine? Where did he get the idea that that's okay? God damn, these people are sick. And they let this guy sit in Mayapur at the ISKCON headquarters giving a lecture. That's what they think of their children and their little kids. You know how many adults that guy traumatized? How many children he traumatized? And now they're grown adults. And they see him sitting in Mayapur giving a lecture like he's the Dalai Lama. Like he's some fucking saint. It's fucking sick. He ran off with a 14-year-old girl, man. He was dating a 14-year-old girl, sneaking away from the temple, putting on a wig, taking this girl to the movies, and who knows what. She's admitted it. He got caught. He had to admit he got caught. A bunch of his disciples ambushed him coming out of a movie theater or at the Santa Monica Mall, wherever they ambushed him. They're like, hey, what are you doing? And he was like, and then he left. So he bounced out. So he hangs low for 20 years and comes right back. Hey, I'm back. Hey, I'm back. Remember me? What about all the people that you traumatized? What about all the people that thought you were their guru? Come to find out you were just a pedophile. So you bounced out and left them high and dry. Some of them left because they realized it was a scam. Some of them didn't because they're too brainwashed into thinking that I don't know what. And then you come back. and now you're like a fucking legend or something. What fucking kind of legend is that? What does that say about this goddamn cult where they let that shit happen? These fucking gurus, man. Why do they think that they can do that and get away with it? What makes him think he can do that and then come back? Why? I'll tell you why. The books. Prabhupada's book says you gotta forgive. You gotta forgive the guy. You gotta forgive him. If you don't forgive him, you're the bad guy. What fucking kind of cult is that? You see, that's why he's back. And that's why they let him back. And that's why they all stick up for each other. Because they all know that at any time, any one of them can fall down and then come back. And so, if I stick up for you, you're going to stick up for me. Lokanath Swami, Bhaktividya Purna Swami, Bhavananda, Rameshwar, Harikesh, all of them. It doesn't matter. They can do no wrong. Why? Because of the books. Don't commit Vaishnav aparad. So my Vaishnav, if I criticize the guru and commit Vaishnav aparad, is that worse than the guru molesting a little girl? Which one's worse? The molesting a little girl is worse than me criticizing the guru? Or criticizing the guru for molesting a little girl is worse than the guru molesting the little girl? You see how sick this fucking cult is? See, when you break it down, like a lot of these people in there don't even know. They haven't figured it out. You got to connect the dots. You got to figure it out. And they don't. Because they're too busy in India milking a cow and chanting Hare Krishna. They don't even know what the fuck what they belong to. That's like being in the Taliban and not even knowing what the Taliban is. Being too stupid to know what the fuck you joined. I admit it. My only excuse was I didn't have the internet. When I joined, there was no internet. There was no YouTube. There was no books online where I could just type in a word and search for it and look it up. When I joined, I don't even think there was Yahoo when I joined. And as soon as Yahoo came around, I got a computer or whatever, and I was like, what am I in part of? And everywhere I looked, it was just ancient tradition from India. Ancient tradition from India. Because Hare Krishnas controlled all the information about... There was no internet. What little bit of internet there was, the Krishnas had control of it. It wasn't until like the late 90s, the mid to late 90s, when you could have these programs and search them online and look stuff up, but you don't know. I believe the bullshit that Prabhupada was 16 and his wife was 16 and they got married at 16, and then when they were adults they had sex. It wasn't until I got this that I actually read where Prabhupada says, no, Prabhupada says she was 11 and I was 22. These people in there don't know a lot of this stuff. They don't know what they're part of. It's like that guy joined. The guy joined and he quit. He was a software engineer. He met a devotee, whatever, read a book, whatever. Within a year, the guy gave up his job, left his family, moved to India, to milk a fucking cow. You think he knows about all these gurus that have fallen down, all the children that were molested, the lawsuit that happened, the guru that got his head cut off, the guru that was busted with guns and drugs and all this stuff, the guru that was molesting little kids in India, well, there was a bunch of gurus that were molesting little kids in India. You think he knows about any of that? You think they told him about that? You think they told him that all the stuff about Negroes that Prabhupada said about the Negroes? You think they told him about that? If he didn't have this program, if he doesn't have this program, he can't search this stuff and read it for himself. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. All he knows is I'm going to chant, and I got my guru, and I'm going to get in the higher stages of love of God. Well, you know what the higher stage of love of God is? I'll tell you, because I know. The highest stage of love of God is becoming that 11-year-old girl and getting fucked by God. That's what they think is the highest level. And you learn what your name is. Oh, I'm little girl Lalita Manjari Dasi. How fucking weird is that? I saw this thing on one of these videos where they were glorifying Prabhupada, and they're like, he's a Manjari in Krishna Loka. Well, you know what that means? That means he's an assistant to Radharani. He's one of the gopis. He's a Manjari. He's an assistant to the. He's an 11-year-old girl. That's what it means. And they all go out and have an orgy with Krishna at the Rasa dance. That's what that means. He's a Manjari. He's a little girl that's going to go down by the river and have an orgy with God. That's the highest level. The highest level is understanding who you are, what little girl you are in Krishna's playground. That's it. That's it. I just gave it to you. That's what all your chanting and all your going to the temple and getting up at 4 o'clock and reading Prabhupada's books and doing all that bullshit. That's the point of it all. The point of it is to reach the stage where you know what little 11-year-old girl you are on Krishna's planet. What your name is. So you can have Rasa Leela with Krishna. So you can have sex life with Krishna. Rasa Leela. Rasa Leela. Which is really, really amusing because in the part of the world where I am, they have these really big Indian nightclubs. And one of them's called Rasa. And the other one's called Leela. Big, giant, notorious go-go bars. Rasa and Leela. Rasa Leela. Rasa Leela means sex life. It means sex. Rasa Leela. So when you go to this page and you type in Rasa Leela, And you see all the places. Look, my daughter Rasalila Dasi, she named her daughter Rasalila Dasi. Letter to Upendra. You can celebrate Rasalila by having nice kirtan and prasadam distribution. That is our way of celebrating sex life. So let's just we'll translate Rasalila into sex life or sex every time Prabhupada says it. Letter to Satsarup. In the BTG, the sex episode cannot be published. We are writing on the activities of Krishna, and sex is one of the most important pastimes. Actually, sex means to curb down the lusty propensities of the conditioned soul. Morning walk. Prabhupada. Rasalila festival may be observed, but you cannot imitate that. Rasalila festival is observed in Calcutta also. The deity is decorated, many people. Not that people imitates Rasalila. Why not? Because Rasalila is sex. Sex festival may be observed, but you cannot imitate that. Sex festival is observed in Calcutta also. The deity is decorated, many people, not that people imitate sex. Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Rasalila, okay, I'm going to translate it into what it really means. Sex. So the sex should be strictly Chaitanya, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. We follow that. This sex chapter. Therefore, they should not be. This sex description should not be made amongst ordinary devotees. Those who are liberated from material contamination, they should try to understand what sex that is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, that one should not even imagine the sex. So this is what we're talking about. So these gurus are having Rasalila and touching little girls because it's in the books. Prabhupada himself was 22. And his wife was 11. 11! And supposedly he was some kind of pure devotee, but he couldn't figure out that maybe he shouldn't have sex with an 11-year-old girl. No, because that's normal for him. And he wants it to be normal for everyone in his mood. That's why there's so much child abuse. That's why you'll never end the child abuse. That's why you'll never stop these gurus from molesting little girls and little boys. That's why I say this is a pedophile cult. You've got a cult leader who says in his books that 16-year-old girls must be married to 24-year-old men. He says in his books that 11-year-old girls are the best wives because they drop everything to go have sex. This is a pedophile cult. That's why they protect pedophiles. They protect each other. That's why Lokanath Swami can run around and touch little girls. And the girl is now grown up. And she says, hey, he didn't just slide his hand by my thigh by accident. It was repeated touching. And I was a little girl. He was an authority figure. He was the guru. I didn't dare speak out. I didn't dare say anything. I didn't know what to do. That's typical. That's exactly what the girl said when she got raped behind the festival behind the stage at the festival. She said, I didn't even know what was going on. I didn't even know I got raped. She knew something happened, but she didn't know what's going on. Loganath felt like he could just touch this girl repeatedly. She's not going to say anything. And even if they do say anything, he's a guru. He can do it. Even if a saintly, they quote that all the time. Even if a saintly person does something abominable, if he's fixed in devotional service, he should be forgiven. He should be regarded as saintly or whatever. And that's not even what the verse says. The verse says that even a low person can worship Krishna. Not that someone who's worshiping Krishna is beyond any, and you can't criticize or you can't. No, it doesn't say that. Prabhupada says that. Because he doesn't want someone like me to say, hey, you were 22 when you had sex with that 11-year-old girl. How dare I say that? How dare I say that? That's what they told me. How dare you? How dare you criticize Prabhupada for saying, for having sex with an 11-year-old girl? Don't you know 11-year-old girls, blah, 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 blah? This is a dangerous cult. That's why no child is safe in this cult. Guru comes to your house, your parents, some little girl, her parents are having the guru come over. The guru grabs her when no one's looking. And what's the little girl going to do? She's 11 years old. What's the little girl going to do? She's scared. She sees how everybody worships this guy. He's the greatest thing on the planet. That's what she's told. And now he just grabbed her. Touched her. Came into her room when she was getting dressed and was like, hey, I just wanted to see how you were doing. Give you some blessing. This is friggin' disgusting. And it's not like one guy. No, it's in the teachings of this cult. That's why you can't stop it. That's why it doesn't matter. That's why they have a child protection office that they closed it down. Because it was basically just a guru protection office. All it did was look at accusations of child abuse and figure out a way to let the guru go free. They're protecting the guru. The child protection office was like human resources. It wasn't there to help the children. It was there to protect the gurus from the children that they've abused, so that they don't go to jail. Child protection office. The only reason the child protection office existed is so that those kids that were abused didn't go to the police. They don't want them going to the police. What do you need a child protection office for? You got the police. Just report it to the police. No, can't do that. Can't trust the police. You know, the police are karmis. They're not doing. Well, frick, I can't trust goddamn gurus. And you're telling me don't trust the police. I can't trust my guru to keep his hands off my daughter. And you're telling me don't go to the police because you can't trust the police. What the fuck? Don't go to the police. Can't trust the police. Can't trust you. No child is safe in the Hare Krishnas. They worship these gurus so much that these gurus can do whatever they want, whenever they want, to whoever they want. And even if they get caught, most of the time they don't get caught, but even if they get caught, nothing happens. So that's the same as not getting caught. If you get caught and nothing happens, you didn't get caught. People are sick. People are fucking sick. And I'm sorry I have to be the one to break it down. I was in it for 20 years. I didn't know. I was a victim perpetrator. I was a victim of this cult, and I didn't know I was a victim, and I was a perpetrator because I was trying to bring more people into the cult. So when I realized the truth, I realized that I was a victim and a perpetrator. I ran as fast as I could from this fucking cult. And I didn't figure all this stuff out like instantly. It was a friggin' putting a puzzle together. And a lot of people haven't put the puzzle together. They've got part of it together, but they don't have it all. They don't have it all figured out. They realize it's a cult. They realize it's bad. They realize whatever, but they don't realize how bad. They don't realize how bad. They know it's wrong, but they don't know how wrong. How fucking disgusting it is. It's like one of those three-dimensional those pictures that you can't see anything and you stare at it. And then you stare at it long enough, it pops out at you and you go, oh shit, it's a boat. It's just like that. If you're lucky enough. Some people can stare, like me. I can stare at that shit for 4 days. And I'll never see it pop out. One time. Long time ago, I was staring at this thing and it wasn't working. It never works for me because I got a stigmatism or something in my eye. So my eyes don't, I can't, whatever. But this one time I was staring and all of a sudden, boom, I saw it. I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And I'd never seen it ever again. My eyes just won't. So I know what it's like. I know, and I look at those things and I go, I know there's a picture in there. I know there's something in there, but I can't see it. And I look, and I still, to this day, I still try to see it. I look, and I try to see what those things, and I can't see it. But I know it works because it worked once. So it's like that. You study this Hare Krishna cult, and you'll see part of it, but then one day, you put all the pieces together, and boom, you go, fuck! I didn't know it was that bad. And that's why I'm saying, like, you know there's child abuse because there was a lawsuit, $400 million lawsuit. You know there's, child abuse, child marriage because the children have come out and said, hey, I was married when I was 13. And many more. I'm not the only one. There's many. Like, it was normal. How I was told in LA in 2008, I was told that if I wanted a wife, I just needed to go talk to the temple president and that they would find me a wife. Now, I could have done that, but that's not, I don't want that. That's not what I want. That's what I want. I don't want. I'm gonna go talk to some grown man who's maybe 10 years older than me, and I'm going to say, hey, I want, I want a wife. Can you find? That's crazy. That's crazy to me. And believe me, if you can walk up, if anyone can walk into a Hare Krishna temple, join, and after 6 months or 8 months or a year, walk up to the temple president and go, hey, I want a wife. Then, hey, can I get a young one? Prabhupada says 11, 12. Because that's what this guy told me. He told me 11-year-old girls are perfect for being wives because Prabhupada says so in his books. Trying to convince me that 11-year-old girls are perfect. I wasn't buying it. And he got mad, and it was like, oh, I'm going to have to come down there and... I don't know, these people are crazy. And they do. So this is going to lead me to my next... Let's take a look at this. A little bit of this.
In ancient India, children were placed in the care of an enlightened teacher, a guru, who was qualified to look after the material, emotional, and spiritual development of the students.
All right. First of all, they make a statement that in ancient India, the children were sent to the school of the guru. I want to know, is there any historical evidence of that? Or do they just say this because Prabhupada says it in his books? Where's the historical evidence for this? I don't know if there is any. I seriously question that statement. But okay, let's go on.
These schools were known as Gurukulas. My name is Sanaka. I was raised in ISKCON Gurukulas, in Italy and in India. I have mixed memories about my childhood. In many regards, it was exceptional. I forged lifelong friendships, and I was introduced to a rich spiritual tradition. As a child, I also witnessed different forms of abuse on a regular basis. Nowadays, many believe that child abuse is a dark chapter in the distant past of the Hare Krishna movement.
So the first problem regarding the children of ISKCON after 1977 was that many of them were being molested or abused, mistreated, or they were being deprived of food and medical equipment or just basic necessities.
And that now there is an effective child protection system in place. Although some progress has been made over the years, in many regards the current policies are still inadequate. In the Hare Krishna movement, political influence and spiritual authority often rest with the same people. This monopoly has created conflicts of interest that have frequently led to a misuse of power. Generally, the need to be respectful of the position of these leaders and the sentiments of their followers has been given priority over the need to protect children. This, in turn, has fostered an environment where accountability has been problematic and children have suffered. The GBC controls...
So that Child Protection Office is the Guru Protection Office, because all it ever did was cover up the child abuse and protect the gurus from prosecution.
Protection Office. Effectively, we have a scenario where prosecution, judge, and jury are all working for the same team. The current system has little room for independent revision, appeals, or scrutiny, and consequently credibility.
My name is Prem Sagar Das, and I came to Mayapur Gurukul in 1987 December, and I stayed until 1993. During that time, which was around 5 years, Bhakti Vidya Purna Swami was the principal of the school. Yes, there were several times that Maharaj beat physically the Gurukul children during my time. Maharaj was famous of carrying a bamboo stick that you could bend it, and it looked like a whip. Maharaj gathered everybody on the Hanuman house, and older and younger boys were.
So, let me just see here. How do I get that back? How do I get that back up in there? Oh, here we go. No, I don't know how to. Oh, it's, here we go. There I am. Okay. I don't know if this guy is still a Hare Krishna. He sounds like he's still a Hare Krishna because he's calling this person Maharaj. It just sounds, he's using cult language, and it sounds like he hasn't been able to break free, even though he's going to describe all the abuse that he saw and experienced. And it's really a shame. I mean,
witnessing this punishment, and he requested every single one, there were 3 of them, every single one to bend over and hold their back of their ankle. He did that. Maharaj used his bamboo stick as a whip to hit each one 3 times. The mark that left on that hit by the whip, I was very, it took days to fade away. It was red, and so one of them had some.
Can you imagine this cult? This is how they treat their kids. He's whacking them with a bamboo stick. He's the head of the school. Can you imagine you're a little kid, you're born in Italy, and your parents join this cult, and now you're in this school in India getting whipped by some maniac with a club, with a bamboo stick. No fault of your own, because your parents joined some sick fucking cult. That's just, what did these little kids do that they had to be whipped with a stick, with a bamboo cane? What did that little boy do that he had to be whipped? Was he not because he didn't want to chant? Because he didn't want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning? Is that why? So you whacked him with a stick? What kind of maniacs are these? And we're not talking about this was in 1967, 1977. He's talking about what happened in the 90s. This is what was going on in the 90s. And believe me, this shit's still going on. They want to act like it's not going on now. Why would it change? It didn't change from back then. They were doing this shit in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Why would you think that it stopped?
Coming in, everybody were completely flabbergasted to see Mark.
They were traumatized. These little kids are watching the other little kids getting beaten with a stick. I've been traumatized. What the fuck, man? These little kids, man. These are little kids. This guy is a huge friggin' monster, and he's got this big stick, and he's whacking them with this stick. I'm fucking disgusted.
His action. Okay, regarding the sexual abuse to children, I remember clearly that in few occasions, or many occasions, Maharaj was approached by the student, mentioning that they were being molested, okay, by older boys, and Maharaj just couldn't do anything about it.
So he says many times. Many times. He can't even count the number of times. Kids would complain about being molested by other kids, and this guy did nothing. Did nothing. Where in the teachings of Prabhupada's books, well, I know where, does it teach them to treat children like this? When Yashodananda asked Prabhupada, can we beat the kids? And Prabhupada said, yeah. Is that where? Is that where they got the idea that they could whack these kids around? Can we beat the children? And Prabhupada says yes. Is that why kids ended up with their teeth knocked out of their face? Broken arms, broken legs, whacked with friggin' bamboo clubs?
Or he will question. I mean, this particular case, which I recall exactly, he questioned the boy, asking them how did he knew that he was being molested. Now, of course, the reply would not be very clear from the children. So basically, Maharaj did not do anything about it, did not accept it, and kept filing the case.
That's it, because Dr. Deprogram, you're saying that there were 16 boys. The report indicates, well, definitely more than 30. You're saying it was consensual and of the same age, except maybe in one case where there was something. And this
the reason they have, this guy investigating, all these inside investigators, because they know that if anyone from the outside investigated this cult about child abuse and sexual abuse and traumatic behavior and physical abuse, they would shut it the fuck down. You think the Indian government wants the world to know that ISKCON is running a friggin' concentration camp for children in Mayapur and in Vrindavan? If they reported all the child abuse that's in ISKCON, all these gurus would be gone. There'd be no ISKCON. They know that. They know it. They have to investigate themselves. They have to shut down their child protection office. Their child protection office must have so many allegations and accusations against these gurus and other temple presidents and whatever. There must be so many that they can't even handle it all. They just said, you know what, we're going to close it down. They don't want anybody from the outside investigating. I'm going to tell you right now, if the UN, if the United Nations investigated this cult, it would be shut down. If the United Nations wants to stop human trafficking and crimes against children, then they need to investigate ISKCON. People from all over the world join this Krishna Cult, and their children end up in India being abused, being traumatized, being molested, and whatever. No child is safe in ISKCON. No child. No child. No child is safe in ISKCON.
Involved, it describes just rampant force of violent, from older to younger, in multi-generational sexual abuse. And Headmaster, because the report recommended that he leave, he left. Follow the history.
Okay, so he's saying that there's he's saying there's multiple generational abuse in ISKCON. The older kids abuse the younger kids, and then those kids grow up and they abuse the younger kids, boys, whatever. But they just let it go on. Can't stop the school from existing, right? So what if kids are being abused, like crazy? Can't close the school down because, hey, we got to have a school. We got to have a place to send these kids, right? We got to have a place where parents can dump their kids off so that they can go be Hare Krishnas, go cosplay. They don't give a fuck about the kids. If they gave a fuck about the kids, they'd shut the goddamn schools down. What else was I going to show? What else was I going to do? Because I wanted to show this nut. This is how fucking insane these people are. Let's go back to this guy. Okay? He's got this video on his webpage. He's a Hare Krishna. He's got this video, this exact same video on his webpage so everyone can see how disgusting this cult is. And then he's going to sit there and act like he is doing something about it. Because he's a critic of his own cult. This is the insanity. So he's a critic of his own cult. He doesn't leave the cult. He's in the cult. He's still promoting everything about the cult that causes children to be abused. He's promoting the books with all the crap in it. He's promoting everything. That women are less intelligent. He's promoting that women like to be raped. He's promoting that blacks should remain in the jungle. He's promoting all this insanity. He doesn't give a shit about kids. You know why? Because when there was a child molester locked up in Cambodia, him and his buddies broke the guy out of jail because he's a Hare Krishna. You just fuck the kids. We got to get the Hare Krishna out of jail. Who cares if he molested a bunch of kids? Who cares that he belongs in jail? That's what I'm saying. The guy belonged in jail. They don't even care that this... They don't even care that they... It's so disgusting. And that's how this guy is. He's going to sit here and he's going to criticize the cult, but he remains in the cult and trying to bring more people into the cult. Because he's insane. All he does is talk about how horrible the cult is. He's talked about how horrible the cult is for 40 years. But he's one of these people from outside the cult come into the cult. Bad people from outside the cult come into the cult. Well, how about when the bad people in the cult are caught and thrown in jail? Why are you and your buddies breaking that guy out of jail? How does that protect kids? How does getting a friggin' child molester out of jail protect kids? How does distributing books that says that 11-year-old girls should get married to 24, 25-year-old men, how does that protect little girls? When the books that you're promoting say that those little girls need to get married to some old man. How is that protecting kids? How is that protecting children? How is that protecting little girls? He wants to blame all of the bad shit on someone else. When it's all in the books. It doesn't matter who is in charge. It doesn't matter if he's in charge, or this guru's in charge, or some other guru's in charge. It's all the same. It's like, who's going to sit on top of the pile of shit? Does it matter? Does it matter who's sitting on top of the shit pile? It's still a pile of shit. Fucking A. Fucking A, man. I'm protecting, and he wants to act like he's literally out there protecting kids. There's a whole page of this crap. Look at this cult crap. This is this cult crap. They believe this stuff. Like Agastya Muni, who by drinking a handful of water made all the oceans dry up. He forcibly swallows the ocean of repeated birth and death. He arose like a moon to swallow up the ocean. That's fucking crap. No one drank a handful of water and made the oceans dry up. Okay, that just didn't happen. So anything after that, I don't even want to hear. Because these stories have nothing to do with anything that has to do with me in my life now. Going to India and milking a cow and trying to figure out what little girl I am in some mythical, stupid story. Pornographic story. Pedophiliac story. Is not the goal of life. Trying to figure out what name you have as a little 11-year-old girl that's gonna have sex on the full moon down by the river is not the goal of life. I mean, it'd be your goal of life, but it makes you fucking sound like a weirdo. You would think that the goal of life, or the meaning of spiritual realization, or the meaning of enlightenment is like to become enlightened, like maybe like Buddha, understand suffering and understand, how to alleviate suffering, how to, show compassion, empathy, sympathy, I don't know, charity, good things to make the world a better place. I don't know how learning who you are as a little 11-year-old girl so you can go down by the river and join in a sex orgy, how that can be the goal of a spiritual existence that makes the world better. Explain that to me, if anybody can. How does understanding your name is Palikamali Dasi, Manjari Dasi, and you're an 11-year-old girl and you run around with a flower and you give it to Radharani, how is that the goal of life? And how does that make the world a better place? Why should that be the goal? What that is the highest stage of understanding. Just for people out there who want to know. Like, you want the total bridge to freedom, you want OT level 1,000,000, whatever it is, you want the highest stage of Bhava, you want the highest stage of Madhurya Ras, you want the highest stage of whatever it is, the Krishna consciousness, the science of self-realization. You want the ultimate, I just gave it to you. You get to know what your name is. When you become an 11-year-old girl and you get to go down and have sex with Krishna. Tell me that ain't a fucking freaky ass pedophile club. Because not only do they want to have sex with 11-year-old girls, they want to become an 11-year-old girl that has sex. So you get this cult of grown men whose goal in life is to become an 11-year-old girl in the next life so they can have sex with God. Doesn't that sound like Heaven's Gate type thing? Some kind of weird ass, freaky ass cult? And if they had their way, they'd force you into this cult. Same way the Taliban wants to force everybody to be in the Taliban. It's not enough that they have the freedom to just exist and be to just exist and be in this cult. They want to force everyone to be in this cult. Just like the Taliban, just like ISIS. Prabhupada says in his books, you can look it up on the Veda-based page. There's a place where Prabhupada says, one day we will have the nuclear weapons. One day we'll just put a gun to people's head and say, do you chant Hare Krishna? And if they say no, bang. There's a conversation, there's a morning walk where he says that. I haven't been able to find it yet, but I'll find it. Unless they removed it. I don't think they removed it. They're proud of that stuff. They're proud of that stuff. Believe me, when there's a quote that Prabhupada says this, they love to pull that shit out and go, well, Prabhupada said that in the future the computer will be blah 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 blah, and they'll, like 7-Up. The story about Prabhupada had 7-Up on a plane, and the devotees were freaking out, and then Prabhupada, they brought him a 7-Up, and he drank it, and he was like, oh, this is good. And then everybody, oh, we can drink 7-Up. Because you couldn't drink Coke. They couldn't drink Coke or Pepsi or anything with caffeine in it. But when Prabhupada saw that it was just carbonated lemon-flavored water and sugar, he was like, oh, this is fine. And so there's this whole legend about this thing on the plane with this 7-Up. Like, who gives a fuck? But to them, it's a big deal. So all these little things that he says about the Negroes, we have to claim them, and how they're just drunkards. This is all what they call drops of nectar. Little things that Prabhupada said that's it's not in the Bhagavad Gita or the Bhagavatam, but he said one time walking, like when he says, my wife was 11 years old and I was 22. She didn't know what was going on, and I took her by the hand, and and he laughs about it. Like, that's not in his books, but it's in the conversation, so you can find it and you can read it, and he said it. So things like that, they consider those drops of nectar, little pearls of wisdom, or however you want to call it. Little things that he said off the cuff, or behind the scenes. And all that stuff is well documented. Everything is there. Everything I'm saying, everything I've talked about, everything. I don't have any special knowledge, special papers. I don't have a special file of stuff that nobody else can find. I don't have a special file of things that were said that only I heard. It's all in Prabhupada's books. All of it. And you can go find it yourself. You can go read it yourself. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to take my word for it. I mean, you can take my word for it. I mean, I want you to take my word for it. But you don't have to. That's the beauty of it. Is you don't have to take my word for it. Like when I say you can go to the database and you can type in the word Negroes and then you can search it and you can see all the crap that Prabhupada says. Here it is. Look, there it's right there. I mean, right here, this conversation right here. I mean, it's right there. Prabhupada says, simply the drunken Negroes. He says, and library means these Negroes will go to read. They'll go for drinking. This is Prabhupada's mind. This is a look into Prabhupada's mind. And not only Prabhupada's mind, but his disciples around him, that he taught them to be these racist assholes. That these Negroes, after all, they are, after all, simple. We have to claim them. They are very good behaving Negroes. They come to our temple. What else did he say? He's got a lot of stuff here. Let's see. What else did he say? He accuses the Negroes of being rapists, and that it's not safe to walk in Central Park because the Negroes. He says here, she was captured by a group of Negroes to rape her. That girl, what is her name? So yeah, well, you know, you want to talk about all the women that are raped in India, gang raped in public, like on a school bus or in a public bus, in a park, right on the street, and then they go and some of these women in India that are raped, then they're like shamed, and then some of them are killed because they shame the family. And yet you want to talk about Negroes in New York City? Let's talk about the gang raping in India. Let's talk about you being 22 years old and your wife being 11. Let's talk about that. Here he says in the Srimad Bhagavatam 798, just like in your country the Negroes were slaves, but fortunately they have been made free. So he says fortunately here, but in another place he says they should never have been given freedom. And here he says, room conversation, he says, a third-class Negro. This is going on. You'll find these things in Europe and America. A first-class car and a third-class Negro. That's all. Is it not? So he's saying that Negroes are third-class people. Third-class people. It's so dishonest, my Prabhupada says, just like in your country the Negroes were slaves, but fortunately they have been made free. When he says the Negroes should not have come out of the jungles and they should not have been given freedom and civil rights. He even says, he said Abraham Lincoln, he freed the slaves as if to put Abraham Lincoln down. He says right here, he gave the Negroes freedom, Abraham Lincoln. And then he's gonna put. He's such a friggin' fraud. All this stuff that he says, and in the letter letter to Satsvarup, where he says, you know what, you don't talk about the Negroes. Don't repeat what I'm saying about the Negroes. Better not to repeat what I'm saying, what I've said. Morning walk. Prabhupada says, my dear boys, even there is beauty amongst the Negroes. He used to say. Here he says, here Prabhupada says this, there is no direction of the brain, these labor class of men I have seen. They, especially these Negroes. He's saying, you know, the labor class of men, the average guy, is pretty stupid, but especially the Negroes are dumb. The Negroes, they capture and rape. Life is unsafe, even in a civilized city like New York. Here it is, letter to Satsvarup. Certainly we are not going to say these things about the Negro people publicly. We have no distinction between black or white or demon or demigod, but at the same time, so long as one is demon or demigod, we have to behave in the proper way. There is no distinction between a tiger and a man. He was so powerful he could convert a tiger to dance. So far as we are concerned, we should not imitate and go to some tiger and try to make him dance. But still, tiger is equally eligible like a man. So you can understand that these talks are not for public, but as they have not got the ability to understand. So what he's saying is, the public won't understand what I'm saying when I talk bad about the blacks and the Negroes. The public won't understand what I'm saying when they hear all the racist things that I say. That's what he's saying. The public won't understand all the racist and sexist things that I say. Why? Because they're an illusion, they make mistakes, they break the four regulative principles, whatever. It's like, you're not a devotee, you can't understand. An illusion. You're captured by Maya, so you won't understand. You're smoking cigarettes, you're drinking coffee, you're having sex, you're watching TV. How can I expect you to understand Krishna when you're doing all of those things? That's their attitude. So anybody who criticizes them on the outside, they will immediately say, well, who are you to criticize because you're doing all these bad things? That's the brainwashing. That's the brainwashing. Like, no, I don't have to be in your friggin' cult to know that it's a friggin' cult. I can call you out. Who are you? Who are you to think that you are beyond criticism? Because you say that your guru is beyond criticism? No. They don't make the rules. Just like Scientology doesn't make the rules, or any cult doesn't make the rules. But they want you to play by their rules. Because they've got all their cult members playing by their rules. So they have to show how you're not a cult member. In order to appeal, well, of course he's criticizing the gurus. He's not a devotee. Of course he's criticizing Prabhupada's books. He's not a devotee. Of course he's criticizing ISKCON. He's not a devotee. Of course he's criticizing these things. He's not a devotee. He eats meat. He has sex life. He's doing all of these things. That's what we expect from these people. Don't listen to them. We told you, don't listen to them. You can't expect someone who is eating meat and drinking beer and gambling and whatever, to understand why we don't like blacks, or why we don't like women, or why we don't give a fuck about our kids. You can't expect those people to understand why we don't report crime to the police when we molest our children, or any of that. You can't expect them to understand that. That's how they think. So I'm going to end it here. I've had it with it. You know, like I said, like an hour and a half. I can't take it anymore. I can't. Too disgusting. Too disgusting. Too many people hurt. Too many kids traumatized. Too many suicides. Just too much. Too much child marriage. Too much domestic violence. Too much of all of that. But I hope I've done something by raising awareness. People can watch this video. They can learn. These guys will never stop protecting each other. They protect each other. They protect their gurus. If you're invested in this guru, if you're a devotee and you've invested in this guru, you've given him money, you've put him up in your house, you've bought him a plane ticket when he asked you to buy him a plane ticket. You do all this stuff for this guru, and then you find out that some girl has accused your guru of touching her. You're going to be pissed off, right? Not my guru. My guru didn't touch anybody. Not my guru. That's... Instead of saying, my guru is a piece of shit scam. And this whole thing's a piece of shit scam. If my guru can't stop from touching a girl, how am I going to stop? If this guru, who's supposed to be on the next level, who's supposed to be the pure devotee, doesn't make mistakes, beyond illusion, he's beyond the modes of material nature, he's an eternal resident of Krishna Loka. If he can't keep his hands to himself, how can I expect? He's so much more advanced than me. He's sitting on the seat giving lectures. I'm donating to him. I'm washing his feet. I'm buying him dhotis and kurtas and whatever, plane tickets, and buying laptops, and donating to his birthday fund, and donating to his whatever, his 401k and his medical insurance. I'm donating to all that stuff for him. And he better keep his hands off some little girl. And if some little girl accuses him, well, she must be wrong. She must have done something wrong. So we'll excuse the guru and we'll shame the girl. Yeah, the fucking sinister ass cult this is. That's why I can't take it. That's why I can only take so much of this. Because I know what's going on. I know what's going on in this cult. Right now, everything that I've described and I've explained in the last hour and a half is happening right now. Everything. Little girls being molested. Little boys being molested. Little boys being hit with a stick. Some little girls being married to some old guy. All that's happening. That's all happening. And if any sane person in this world hears what I'm talking about and knows what I'm talking about and can go online on Google and search, or go on YouTube and search and see and hear for yourself everything I'm talking about, any sane person that does that would be outraged. Their head would explode if they knew what was going on. You know, wow, there's a Hare Krishna temple right down the street from me. There's a Govinda's restaurant. That's what these people are doing. That's what these people believe. That's what's in their books. I guarantee it, if you knew. If people knew. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to say class is over. What other funny things can I play here? I don't know. Let's see.
You all have enough prizes?
Hello.
Thank you, Judah, for being
Okay, everybody. I think that's it for today. I'm gonna cut it loose. Like, share, and subscribe. Get the word out. Hare Krishna is a dangerous, destructive, horrible pedophile cult. It is a pedophile cult. If there was ever a cult on this planet that deserves the title pedophile cult, it's Hare Krishna. 11-year-old girls, Rasa Leela, sex life, child marriage, women like to be raped. 11-year-old girls are women. They're wives. They can be wives. Why not women? It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. It's dangerous. It's destructive. It's evil. It's sinister. It goes against everything human nature, human rights. Little girls. They want to marry little girls to grown men. Not want to. They do. They do. You can go on YouTube and you can search it and you can read about it. You can watch videos. You can hear grown women talk about being married when they were 13 years old to some old guy in India. You can read about it. You can watch videos about it. You can do all of that. So I'm ending it here. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will be back with more of this crap, this Krishna crap, to let you know exactly what's going on so you can protect yourself. You can raise awareness. You can help abuse kids by just keeping people from joining and shutting this Hare Krishna crap down. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. And then here you go with the closing, I guess. Closing.